You got everything you wanted. Not everything you dreamed of as a kid, but everything you were told to want. The job, the apartment, the relationship, the routine that looks good from the outside. You hit the milestones. You check the boxes. And somewhere between checking those boxes, you stopped asking whether any of it was yours. Here's what nobody talks about. The emptiness didn't show up when your life was falling apart. It showed up after things got stable, after the chaos settled, after you finally had enough time to sit down, breathe, and just be. That's when it hit you. Not sadness, not depression, just this quiet, flat feeling. Like you're watching your own life through a window you can't open. Everything is moving. You're moving with it. But nothing lands. Nothing sticks. You wake up and check your phone before you even know how you feel. You answer messages before you answer yourself. You go through the whole day performing a version of fine. And at night, you're exhausted, not from work, but from being absent from your own life. You scroll not because you're looking for something, but because silence feels strangely uncomfortable now. And the worst part? You can't explain it to anyone. Because from the outside, your life looks fine. Maybe even better than fine. So, saying, "I feel empty," sounds ungrateful. It sounds dramatic. It sounds like a problem you shouldn't have. So you don't say it. You just carry it. If that's you, I need you to hear this. Nothing is wrong with you. But something is wrong with how we've all been taught to live. My name is Philex, and I spend probably too much time thinking about why people feel, react, and protect themselves in ways that even they don't fully understand. Today, I want to talk about something that doesn't have a clean diagnosis and doesn't get solved by a morning routine or a gratitude journal. The specific kind of emptiness that comes not from having too little, but from living in a way that's quietly, slowly disconnecting you from yourself. If you've ever felt like a stranger in your own life, stay until the end. Because this one goes somewhere most conversations about modern life never do. Here's what nobody told you growing up. They taught you how to achieve. They did not teach you how to want. There's a massive difference. And that gap is where most of modern emptiness lives. From the time you were old enough to understand, the message was consistent. Work hard, build a life that looks a certain way, and then you'll feel it. That sense of arrival, that fullness. That is it. So, you did the work. You built life. You waited for the feeling. It didn't come. Or it came, for a weekend, maybe a week, and then dissolved back into the same flat background noise. And most people at this point assume they just haven't achieved enough yet. That the feeling is still coming, they just need more. A better job, a different partner, more experiences, more something. This is the trap. And almost every one of us has walked straight into it. Modern life has essentially hacked your brain into a permanent state of wanting, while quietly starving your ability to feel satisfied. Every notification, every scroll, every algorithmic reward is engineered to keep you reaching forward. Not present, not content, wanting. The entire attention economy profits from the gap between where you are and where you think you should be. So, you live in a constant low-level state of almost. Almost where you want to be. Almost who you want to be. Almost feeling what you think you should feel. And almost, it turns out, is an exhausting place to live permanently. But here's the thing nobody names directly. We have built a life full of content and empty of experience. Content is something that happens to you. You consume it. It passes through. And you need more. Experience is something that happens in you. It changes you, stays with you, means something. Scroll for an hour, content. Sit with someone you love and talk until the restaurant turns the lights off, experience. Watch 3 episodes of something you're half interested in, content. Read a sentence that makes you stop and stare at the wall because it said exactly what you've been feeling for 3 years, experience. The tragedy isn't that we have too little. It's that we've quietly replaced almost all of our experience with content. and we're wondering why we feel hollow. Now here's the question I want you to sit with. When was the last time you did something, anything, that you couldn't post, couldn't explain, couldn't turn into a story for someone else? Not because it was secret, but because it was entirely, privately yours. Most of us have outsourced our inner life to an audience. Even if you don't post everything publicly, you're narrating your own experience for an imaginary reader before you've even finished living it. You go somewhere beautiful, and before you've felt anything, you're already thinking about how you describe it. That's not vanity. That's a symptom of living in a world where visibility has become an unconscious measure of value, where if it wasn't witnessed, it almost didn't count. And when nothing counts unless it's witnessed, your inner life starts to disappear, quietly, slowly, until one day you realize, I don't know what I like. I know what I want to post. I know what gets a response. But what do I like? That question, not knowing the answer, that's not emptiness. That's the first honest moment you've had in a while. Think of your life as a house. You've spent years decorating outside. Beautiful exterior. Everything looks right from the street. But inside, some rooms have been locked for so long you've forgotten what's in them. The emptiness isn't the house falling apart. The emptiness is a knock on those locked doors. Most people respond to that knock by turning the music up louder. More work, more scrolling, more noise, more almost. Some people, the ones who eventually find their way back to themselves, they get quiet enough to hear it. And then they do something terrifying and necessary. They open the door. I'm not going to give you 5 steps to a meaningful life, but I'll tell you what points are somewhere real. It's not a better morning routine. It's not finding your passion or living your purpose in the way self-help has made those phrases mean almost nothing. It's this one real thing, done fully, without an audience. One conversation where you're not performing, just present. One afternoon doing something you genuinely love and telling no one. One moment where you let yourself feel something completely, not manage it, not post it, not process it into content, just feel it. You start there, not because it solves everything, but because it reminds you that real life is still possible, that you still exist underneath all the noise. And from that small, quiet place, you start asking the hard questions. What did I give up fitting in? What do I believe, not what I was handed? What would I choose if nothing could be posted and no one was watching? These questions don't have fast answers, but living with them, really living with them, that is the opposite of empty. You're not broken. You're not ungrateful. You're someone who was handed a version of a good life and told that if you built it correctly, the feeling would come. And you built it, and you're still waiting. The feeling doesn't come from building the right life. It comes from living inside it, fully, imperfectly, without constantly translating your experience into something presentable for someone else. Modern life will keep offering you more things to want, more content, more almost. You can keep taking them, or you can do the quieter, stranger, harder thing. Get still enough to hear what you need. That's not a destination. It's a direction, and starting to move in even slightly, even uncertainly, is how emptiness begins to lift. Not all at once, but enough to remember who's in there. If one line in this video stopped you, leave it in the comments. Not a summary, the actual line that hit. I read them all. And if you want to keep going deeper into why we feel and hide and protect the way we do, subscribe. The next video goes somewhere, even though most psychology channels don't.